everybody, as you might see behind me, the bird room has changed quite a bit, so we're going to go ahead and do a new bird room tour for 2016 today. The first thing that's changed is actually on this wall. There used to be a really big bookshelf that held all the bird supplies, their safety equipment, training things, and toys, and that was taking up a lot of space. So I actually moved that into another room, and now instead, this is where I sit. As you can see, my beanbag chair is on the floor, and now there's just a lot more space to move around in here. All the stuff from in here has actually moved into the closet. So on the top shelf of the closet, you can see their travel cage, a thing of clothes pegs, and toy parts, DIY toys, perches are in this box, and then toys that are old are in that one. So everything that used to be on the bookshelf has moved up there. That's where all the toys have moved from there. All of the other supplies have actually moved down into these two containers. And we'll get to those in just a second. So as you can see, Flippy's over here. He didn't used to be. He used to be over by the window, and I really liked having him over there, but unfortunately, the girls, the parrotlets, were picking on him, they were shouting at him. So I had to move him out of the way because it was stressing him out and it's not good for his health. So he stays over here now, and he seems to be quite content with the new spot. So right below Flippy, we have these drawers. This one is where all their safety equipment went. We have their scale, a towel for restraint, we have their syringes and oil, and we have some stuff for emergency fire evacuation. I have other stuff in a different room, like the pillowcases and things like that. But we do have containers of seed and pellets packaged up just in case there was ever an emergency. And there's also a perch in here, and scissors and things like that. The next drawer down, what we've got is all their training equipment. So we've got the training pouch that's full of treats, the clickers, any sorts of props, the harnesses, and things that would be used for training. The next thing that's changed is this box right here, which holds the power bar and all the cords and things. And the reason why this is here is because the power bar used to be loose, just kind of sitting underneath this cabinet. But Mia kept getting really curious and she'd waddle over and she'd kind of start looking at it. While she never chewed on it, it's definitely a hazard for her to chew on wires. So now it's just safely away in a box. It's not going to cause any problems. And the other thing that was happening is whenever they were eating, a bunch of seed would actually start falling into the power bar. So now it's got a lid on it and it's safely away, and it's not going to be a hazard anymore over in this corner in a box. Shuffling over from that cabinet, we have this drawer, which is basically my stuff. You have replacement filters, you've got the bird's feathers, there's actually camera stuff over here. Just kind of a miscellaneous drawer. The next one is all their treats, which is a little bit messy right now, but it's not too bad. You got dehydrated fruits in the back, you got some peppers, packages, you got seeds down here and nuts. And then the last drawer that's actually used in this is this one, and this just has their seed, and it's got some of the DIY Nutriberries back there. It's got a teaspoon for measuring things. That's it for drawers that are used in this. Going up onto the shelf, what we have here is their UV light, which is normally hanging up there when it's in use right next to Mia, and that way it can easily be turned to aim at their cages if they're eating, or over there at their veggie box. Off from that is the filter, which is turned off right now, which gets turned on during the day, but it's off right now just because it'll mess with the audio. And that's about it for the shelf. Next is their cages. Not a ton is different about them, but what has changed is some of the perches have moved and the toys are different, but what has changed is the dishes. So in here, you can see that this dish is really, really small, which is actually great. These ones before were pretty big and they were taking up a lot of space. And the other great thing about these dishes is this huge gap. When they're sitting on these perches eating the pellets, the dust actually just falls right through there, so the dish doesn't end up filling up with a bunch of pellet dust. The other dish that's different is up here, is their water dish. And their water dishes are now stainless steel, which is something I've been wanting to do for a very long time, because plastic ones are really porous and they can collect bacteria, and that's why you'll get that film on the inside of the dish that's really hard to clean. And the same goes for ZB's cage. You know, not a ton is different about hers. I don't remember if that perch was there on the last video, but you know, about the same. A couple toys are different. Again, she has a small dish and a stainless steel one. Moving left from their cages, we've got this area down here that's just a flat kind of play top sort of area for the birds, and it's just got a bunch of paper foragers and things that they can throw around. Then we have the bird safe plants and aloe and a jade. That jar back there is for air freshening. It's cinnamon mixed with baking soda, which helps keep the bird room a bit fresher and smelling a bit nicer. And over here, I've talked about this before, it's just a box that's got paper towels lined with it, and I give them their vegetables in there, which helps keep the mess contained. Above this is just 2 bamboo trellises that have been tied together with sisal, and a bunch of toys off of it, and it's a really fun play stand for them. They use it a lot. And that's about it for this table. So up here from the trellis is their new window spot, and as you might have noticed if you watched the last video, is their net is now gone, and what is there instead is this twisty thing, and Mia's window perch is still there, and that's still her favorite spot. And we've got some new toys, a thing I made, a sisal grass mat, some toys. This was here before. And I've got that rope going across. And so the net that used to be there is all the way over here now. And I guess we can get into this giant mess of things. Alright, so this big mess of things is actually only held up by these larger ropes. And they're held up in 2 different ways. The one over here is held up just by a screw with a washer around it, and then the sisal rope is tied in a knot around that, and that just helps it to stop slip off. And then the one all the way, hi ZB, on the other side is just a little hook that you can get it in your hardware store that is just screwed into the ceiling, and again the sisal is just tied in a knot up there to keep it all secure. And that's basically all that's used to keep everything here secured. So over here, if I can even pack up enough to get it all in frame, is a lot of stuff. So we've got a seagrass mat, which is tied to another seagrass mat, which is being hung up by the window net that is, I guess, no longer a window net. And we've got a bunch of toys that were DIY'd, a twisty foraging toy. We've got their favorite little spot to sit. There's a lot up here. A DIY hanging playset, a little just paper poof thing that they play on, a big toy, a thing of cork that I made. It's kind of a mess. I don't really know how to explain what's here. There's the ladder, all the ropes, more toys, a hanging thing, and this is kind of the main place that the birds hang out. As you can kind of see, they're both up there right now. And because all of this is up here, down on the floor we have a towel that catches all of their poop and mess and seed and just whatever the heck they do up here. And what'll often happen, if you can see over here, is there's a bunch of sort of twine balls and things, and those all just get chucked on the floor and I have to go over and pick them up. And so the other thing that's different about this cage is these 2 training stands. What this used to be was that play set that was here that had that fitted bed sheet underneath it. And just because of where it was and because of all this new stuff up here, the birds weren't using it all that much. So instead I took it apart, I disinfected it all, I cleaned it, and now instead we've got these 2 training stands that they just use for training, which is a lot more useful, and they're getting, you know, a lot more fun out of that than they were the previous play stands. We've got the little DIY'd sort of things for Mia, ZB, and Flippy with a feather next to it. And then we've just got a giant calendar, which currently has all the videos that have been made each day, all the edits that have been done, and all the dots you can see are when videos have been queued to be posted. So that's about it. We've got another picture over here, the camera tripod, guitar, and that is really it. Okay, so that about does it for the new bird room tour. Not a ton is actually different about sort of the layout, but definitely all this mess up here is definitely quite different, and is definitely a pain sometimes, as you know I have been bending over here giving them vegetables and stood up and just like whacked my head on a toy more than once a day. But you know, as long as they enjoy it and they have fun, you know, that's all that really matters. So they're having a good time, I'm having a good time, so who cares if they get hit in the head a few times with a couple toys. So thank you all so much for joining me here today, and I hope you all enjoyed the new bird room. If there's any suggestions you guys have for things I could do to improve the room or make it, even a bit more crazy than it is right now, please leave a comment down below. I'm always looking for new ways to give them even more enriching lives. And so far, this is the best I've got. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!